Season action. It's here every game on NFL Network, including 23 live games. NFL preseason week 1 starts Thursday night. It is the Washington football team that I think people are sleeping on, up against the New England Patriots looking to bounce back. It's all happening right here on NFL Network. So much to get to. We're going to talk a little Baker Mayfield, talk a little bit of Ravens here. We'll hit up Titans training camp. Inside Training Camp Live takes over at 10 a.m. Eastern. Colleen Wolfe will drop by the program as well. Will Selva's on the West Coast with the news. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to all of you. And Shregs, thank you for giving me life with that speed walking demonstration. They look more like a speed walking dodgeball hybrid sport that you were doing there, hiding behind your chair and everything. I mean, you got to move the hips. I don't know. You know, but either way, Norway's Carson Warholm was the one that won the 400-meter hurdles, by the way, just so you know.
It was awesome.
Yes,
World record.
That's it.
Great race.
All over it. Now back to you guys. I'm done with the news. Now, here we go. So you were talking about the preseason. Of course, we saw our first preseason game last week on Thursday, the Hall of Fame game, which Dak Prescott ended up sitting out for. He has been dealing with a strained shoulder. He stayed back in Oxnard, California for extra treatment, and apparently it has worked out for the Cowboys quarterback. Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy saying Prescott did some light throwing at practice on Saturday, but remains on a rep count. McCarthy adding they are being extra cautious with Dak's shoulder and that he feels really good about where Prescott is. So good news for Dallas fans. Meanwhile, in other injury news, Jaguars head coach Urban Meyer telling reporters Sunday that wide receiver and friend of the show, DJ Chark, had surgery on a broken finger on his right hand. Chark had a plate inserted into his finger, but is expected to be ready for Jacksonville's season opener against the Texans. And it was an unforgettable weekend in Canton, Ohio. Cornerback Charles Woodson, among those inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2021. In an emotional speech where he thanked his mom and the fans, Woodson did not forget his roots.
You know, I grew up hour and a half west from here in Fremont, Ohio. It's where I picked up my first pair of cleats to play this great game that we play. And I feel like it's so fitting that here today, I put those cleats down for the last time here in Canton, Ohio, and I walk into the Hall of Fame. I leave you with this. Be unique, innovative, learn discipline. You own undeniable respect. Love everyone, give everything, never doubt, build your legend. Thank you. We're in the Hall of Fame, baby.
Talk about inspirational. He also got teary-eyed seeing Boys to Men in honor of his mom. And he also said, when I go in, we all go in. So all these speeches, funny, poignant, inspirational. Some had receipts. How You Like Me Now. You guys mentioned Isaac Bruce. So either way, listen to guys like Charles Woodson. The man also has a winery that he's now in charge of, that he owns. He's also doing other things, TV. So well accomplished. If you were watching, I hope you got some out of it, because there's a lot of great stuff.
Awesome job. Hail to the victors. Great job, Will.
Good job,
Really
Will.
inspiring. Nate saying it was motivating being there in person. Your thoughts at GMFB. We'll check in with you ahead of Inside Training Camp Live, kicking off at 10 a.m. Eastern. Now, in honor of the Hall of Fame weekend, Bucky Brooks, our guy, he loves making lists too. We do it all the time here on the show. Well, here's his top 5 Gold Jacket candidates under 30 years old. Mahomes topping that list, not surprising. All of these players have done some truly amazing things in the league already. Still so many years left in them. So if you could add one more player to Bucky's list, let's not take anybody off straight, but let's add on to it. Who would you pick?
Yeah, it was interesting to see Bucky's list because obviously you start listing all the other players. What about? Well, there's only top 5. I'm going to give you another name, Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
I think the safety position has been defined over generations by guys like Troy Polamalu and John Lynch and Steve Atwater and Brian Dawkins and all these guys we've seen go in the past few years. I think today's game, the best safety is Minkah Fitzpatrick, and he's only going to get better. He's so young. And he's being coached by Mike Tomlin, who's one of the greatest defensive backs coaches of all time. The way they use him is so unique. He's everywhere. There's a lot of great safeties in the league, and we hear about Tyrann Mathieu and some of these other players that get all-pro votes. I think Minka's going to be the guy for the next 10 years. I think he's only going to get better and better. And he, like Troy Polamalu, will someday go in as a Steeler safety and represent those colors.
All right, I'll go with a defensive guy, a young defensive guy. That's Chase Young. He was fantastic in his rookie year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was also a Pro Bowler. I believe he was the youngest guy voted to the Pro Bowl in Washington franchise history. So he's young and he's already playing this well. And when you get, when you're the leader in votes for defensive ends in the NFC, you have the respect from your peers and those who are voting. So I just look at his career and where it's going to be 10 years from now, and he has that approach. All he cares about is football. He wants to show up, dominate year in and year out. I feel like he's going to get better and better. So I do see him downing that stage at one point in his life.
After one season.
Small sample size, but you're in.
Yeah,
It's got ways to go.
Looks very impressive.
He is.
I have a much bigger sample size. I remember last fall when the season was wrapping up, Peter, we stumbled on this question that you posed to the table. It was like, could Derrick Henry possibly be a Hall of Famer? I'll tell you what, 2,000 yards, you were in the conversation. You have my attention. That is a very rare club. Now, granted, all the people in that club are not Hall of Famers, but here's the deal. Derrick Henry needs about 6,000 more yards in his career, and he will be a Hall of Famer. What do I mean? Right now, he's just around 600, a little low. 12,000 yards is the number, and we have looked into this. Guys who are just under 12,000 yards. Fred Taylor, Steven Jackson, Warwick Dunn, Corey Dillon, all great players who are not in. If you go over 12,000 yards rushing, that's when you get to Franco Harris, Marcus Allen, Edgerrin James, Marshall Faulk. 12,000 yards is everything. So Derrick Henry, does he have 6,000 to 7,000 more yards in his career? That's the question. He's 27 years old. He's got a new offensive coordinator now. The Titans are very good, but 6,000 to 7,000 more yards? I think if he does, I think Derrick Henry's a Hall of Famer. 5,000 more? Unless you go the Terrell Davis route and have a couple of rings, and then we have a different conversation. So you got to get 2 rings or 6,000 more yards. Derrick Henry's all in front of you.
What about multiple 2,000-yard rushing seasons?
Fascinating question.
If he does it again this year.
I don't think it's ever been done.
I don't think it has.
Right.
And I think it would be the argument of, okay, of that time period, a 4-year span, he was the best player at his position.
It would be 3 straight rushing titles, 2 straight 2,000-yard seasons. You're getting close, but you're still not in. You can't finish.
Very similar to Calvin Johnson.
Very similar.
Where you dominated over a short span, and you get that respect even if you played, 9 or 10 years.
That's exactly it. No ring, but incredible respect, incredible production. That'd be amazing.
I think if you say Derrick Henry, we have to talk Christian McCaffrey. Don't we? Coming off a lost season, of course, he's got a ways to go, and he's done some of those really rare things as well. The 1,000 season, right? 2019, joining Marshall Faulk and Roger Craig. Those are the only members of the 1,000 club. 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. That's in the same season. He also set a running back record with 116 catches that year. I feel like we forget because of the season that he sort of lost. To put this in perspective, Jim Brown holds the NFL records, guys, with an average of 125.5 scrimmage yards a game. Over the last 3 years, CMC's averaged 10 more than that, 10 more yards per game than the all-time record holder. That is sanctity, that is rare air. So I also feel like if he adds something like comeback player of the year, making a prediction on a Monday, this year, after a lost season, a down year, and puts that offense on his back, and they make some waves in a division that's got some question marks, I don't know, I'm into it. I think Christian McCaffrey might be that dude.
Got to stay on the field, right? I mean, that's nothing can do anything about injury. You get injured, you can't do it. But you're right, the comeback player of the year conversation starts with him.